It's an interesting question. I note that you don't ask whether literature can establish the truth or discover the truth or even distinguish the truth. It's also interesting that you ask about truth and not knowledge or wisdom. Like you seem to suggest that literature is not among a number of other areas of knowledge. And what of tell the truth? Like, what does it mean exactly to tell the truth, or what does it mean to better tell the truth? What can it mean to tell better, tell something better, or tell something worse? I mean, I think literature can do both. But of course, the one question I'd have at the outset would be what you consider literature to be itself. I take it that you know, like, you mean fiction, poetry, but of course, some would also speak of biography, journalistic writing, history, film, songs, and what has become known as creative nonfiction.
So, as far as it goes, I'm inclined to say that literature can tell the truth better in some particular context, for some particular purposes, like the book I read last year in English 11 called A Living Hell. It's a book about the Civil War and short stories of all the soldiers that lived during that time period and like what they had to go through and endure. It really puts perspective, since it was written in the 21st century, puts perspective to us living today, what it was like to go to war back then and fight against your own countrymen. Or, for instance, the book Night by Eli Wiesel, a true story um, from his own accounts when he was in Auschwitz, when his dad was killed there, and when his mom and sister were brutally murdered by the German regime. I think that literature really does portray a truth, especially in historical context. I think that where it can sometimes veer from the truth is when it starts getting into like just like non-historical fiction. Obviously, like fairy tales and stuff like that is still literature, but it's not always the truth. It's like a symbol.
Now, in my opinion, I also agree that literature does tell the truth. And one book recently that I read, we read it this year in your class, was A Thousand Splendid Suns. And I really think that that is a perfect example of literature portraying the truth accurately because of how Khaled Hosseini gave us like such a great picture of the world surrounding Afghanistan in those times of Taliban control. It's something that someone who doesn't live there, doesn't experience that day to day struggle like the women of the book, in Lila and Miriam. It's something that we can look at and get a glimpse into just something that is so unrecognizable to what our general American life is like. We don't go through anything that they do. And I think that with that book and many other books like it, like Luke said, with historical books, fiction, or mostly nonfiction, they really do tell the truth, because, I mean, they are true stories. But even in some cases, fictional books can tell the truth. I mean, they can be drawn off of what generally may be written or known in day to day life. I mean, a romantic book about a relationship and a marriage, something like that, that could clearly be a depiction of someone's marriage, maybe the author's marriage, someone the author knows, but no one would know. So then it technically is a fictional book. But regardless, it's going to tell the truth. And I mean, with that, I think we pretty much gave our answer to the question. I mean, it's an opinion, so that's my opinion. That's Luke's opinion. With that, catch me at graduation.
Yeah, see y'all later.
Thanks for a great year. Love you guys.